Hey guys, here's a little video recap of our trip over to Europe this summer.
Portugal 2018. Chilling.
Well, we headed over to Faro Portugal to start. We rented a camper van and headed immediately to the coastline. The first area we spent time in was the Algarve region. Killer little zone, very unpopulated. The surf wasn't epic, but there was a couple rideable waves, and it sure was relaxing. A great way to start the trip. Without the kids, it sure was amazing how much time we had to connect, spend time with one another. Somehow we forgot to pack a corkscrew, but we found one in a nice little shop. We did some hiking along the coastline, and we found some quaint little towns as we traveled north along the Portugal coastline. After the second day, we started to get really relaxed and in the groove of just chilling and watching sunsets. As you know, I'm into camper vans, and so is Tish. So we rented a van from Indie Campers. They had a one-way rental with a small fee to drive from Faro all the way up to Bordeaux, France. It had a fold-down bed, a sink, and a stove, and as you can see, we were pretty comfortable and at home. Everywhere we went, we had our house with us, so we never had to worry about accommodations or sleeping, so it was really easy to find magical spots along the coastline. After a few days of cruising up the Portugal coast, we went into Sintra, just past Lisbon, for some European architecture and old castles. It really reminded us that we were in Europe. We rented bikes and cruised. It was awesome. After a day spent playing around in the castles and riding bikes through the villages, we headed toward Ericeira. Ericeira is sort of the capital of Portuguese surfing. It's It's like traditional fishing villages and cobblestone streets and blue and white school colors. It's like a holiday town. It's really cool. Lots of camper vans and surfers everywhere. After spending a few days there, we headed along the coast further to Nazaré, where the world's biggest wave breaks. It wasn't breaking this day, but it still was really cool just to be there and feel the energy and imagine what it would be like to see a 100-foot wave breaking. Tish really freaked me out going out on this rock. Next up, we headed to one of our favorite cities, Porto. There actually was a carnival going on. We got to ride the trolley, play around in the streets, see the sights, and really enjoy the city life for a day. We had a great meal and tasted some port wine. Even though we had a kitchen in our van, we still enjoyed going out for meals. It gave us a chance to see the town and the community. After a few great days on the coast and some time in the cities amongst the castles, we headed up into the mountains. Just on the border of Spain and France, there's a national park, Parque Nacional de Penada Giris. We did about a 6-mile hike up into the mountains, into villages. One of the most magical, quiet, quaint, mystical little zones either of us had ever imagined. We felt so far away from home. It felt so good to be in a place that was so rural, so isolated, so far away from computers and stuff and big malls and just all the things that we have in our daily life. It just felt so old school and so down to earth. We were really enjoying our time up in the mountains, cruising around little villages and pulling over and stopping and discovering and exploring. We headed over to Picos De Europa, which are these mountains, crazy mountains, really close to the coast of Spain. We went on this road and it was incredible. I felt like around every corner there was going to be a car coming the other direction. It was so nerve-wracking. There's nets for rocks that they don't fall on your van, your car. Every turn was so scary, and off the edge of the road was just the biggest cliff you could ever imagine. After a long windy road, we arrived at the base of Picos De Europa. We sat at the base of the mountain and camped in the parking lot. There's a small gondola that takes people up to the top of the mountain. Most people just take the gondola back down, but we decided to hike down. It was a 14-mile hike. It took us the full day. Then they had this crazy platform that you could stand on the edge of the cliff. So scary, but yet so beautiful. It was like sensory overload. Once we exited the gondola, we walked around the backside of the mountain range and started our hike toward the bottom. We came across chateaus and sat and listened to the cowbells. One of the chateaus welcomed us, and we had some rattlers on the deck. It was beautiful, nice to just sit there and enjoy the view. We continued hike of our lives and enjoyed every minute. When we wanted to rest, we would stop and have a snack. When we felt like hiking, we would hike again. Heading back down the crazy mountain roads, we were heading back to the coast. I'll be honest, I was hoping Mundaka was going to be breaking, but obviously it doesn't break in the summer. But we did see some wave-rich regions of coastal Spain. We stopped in some really cool little surf town fishing villages and checked out so many little spots. We wound up going to San Sebastian and walking the streets and trying all these different tapas and appetizers, tasting wines, and just enjoying each other's company. To Biarritz and into Hossegor. We actually spent, I think, 2.5 days in Hossegor. Really soaked up this beach town. Again, there was no waves, but man, it sure was nice chilling. Such a little surf town. Our last night in the van, Europe, 2018.
Got this pasta in Portugal.
This beer in Portugal.
Eating our leftover rations here.
After returning the van, we spent the day with an old family friend, Kiara, and then it was back to America.